At 2:17 in the morning, her screen lit up with a message. Still thinking about last night. She figured I had no idea what had been going on. We had been married 18 years. We had 3 kids together. We had already watched our business start to sink because she was careless enough to use the company card to cover up her affair. And the second I told her I would take care of the divorce paperwork myself, she went completely still. By then, it was already too late. My name is Caleb Mercer. I am 43 years old, and for most of my adult life I believed I had built 2 things that could not be shaken loose: my family and my business. For a long time, both of them looked strong, stable, dependable, the kind of life other people pointed at and said must be nice. Then one Tuesday night, cracks started showing in everything. I was sitting in the office at our house in Scottsdale, Arizona, finishing a proposal for a big client. My wife, Nicole, and I had spent nearly 20 years building our information technology consulting company, Mercer Tech Group. We started it when our oldest daughter, Ava, was still a baby. Back then we had nothing but a folding desk, one unreliable computer, and more nerve than sense. Now we had 15 employees, 3 children, and the kind of life that looked polished and successful from the outside. That night, the clock on my desk read 11:47 when I heard Nicole's car roll into the driveway. She was late again. 3rd time that week. She had told me she was going to some networking event downtown, a meet and greet with possible investors, the kind of tech gathering she said could lead to new opportunities. I got up from my desk and went to the kitchen, thinking maybe I would say hello and heat up a plate for her. The second she walked in, I knew something was off. Her hair was messy, but not by accident. It looked like she had tried to fix it fast and hoped nobody would notice. Her lipstick was smeared near the edge of her mouth, and there was a smell on her. It was not her perfume. It was something darker, woodsy, masculine. "Hey," Nicole said as she dropped her purse on the counter. "You are still awake?" "Just wrapping up the Anderson proposal," I said. I watched her face while I spoke. "How was the event?" "Long," she said right away. She slipped off her heels and started toward the stairs. "I am exhausted. I am going to shower and go straight to bed." She never really looked at me. Not once. That was what hit me hardest. In 18 years of marriage, Nicole had always looked at me when she came home. She always kissed me. She always asked how my day went before she got into hers. That was just who she had been, even on bad days, even when we were tired, even when we were mad at each other. I stood there in the kitchen while she went upstairs, and a minute later I heard the shower come on. Something heavy and cold settled in my chest. It was not panic. It was not anger either. It felt more like a quiet truth finally forcing its way to the surface. Like some part of me had known for a while, but I had kept drowning it out. Now I could not anymore. I went back into the office and opened my laptop. The first thing I checked was her shared calendar, the one we both used for business scheduling. If she had really gone to an investor event, it should have been there. It was not. No event. No meeting. No reminder. Nothing. Then I opened her company email account. She had given me access years earlier in case either one of us ever needed to step in and handle things for the business. I searched for anything about the event she claimed to attend. No invitation. No confirmation. No message from an organizer. Nothing that even hinted she had been where she said she was. That was the moment I stopped brushing things aside and started really paying attention. And once I started, the truth came fast. The next morning, I acted like everything was normal. I got up early, made coffee, cooked scrambled eggs, and got breakfast moving for the kids. I asked Nicole about her plans for the day like I always did. She sat at the kitchen table with her phone in her hand, half reading something on the screen and barely paying attention to anybody in the room. "I have a client meeting at 10, she said. "Then lunch with that investor I told you about. I might be late again tonight." Our oldest, Ava, came into the kitchen with her backpack hanging off one shoulder. She was 17 and smart enough to notice tension before most adults would. Her eyes moved from me to Nicole and back again. She did not say anything, but I could tell she felt something was wrong. Then Mason came pounding down the stairs. He was 14 and hungry every minute he was awake. He grabbed toast before he even sat down. "Where is Sophie?" I asked. "Still upstairs," Ava said. "She has been trying on shoes for like 20 minutes. On the surface, it looked like any other weekday morning. Same noise, same routine, same family. But to me, everything felt different now. After the house emptied out, I went into my office and made a phone call I had never imagined making. I called my brother, Tyler. Tyler is a divorce lawyer in Phoenix. He is good at what he does, maybe too good. I had always been glad he had that skill set, but I never thought I would need it for my own life. He answered on the second ring. Caleb, what is going on? I hesitated for a second. Saying it out loud felt like stepping over a line I could never cross back over. I think Nicole is cheating on me. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, what makes you think that? So I told him. All of it. The late nights. The lies that did not line up. The missing calendar entries. The smell on her clothes. The way she stopped looking me in the eye. He let me finish without interrupting once. When I was done, he said, you need proof. Real proof. Not a feeling. Not a guess. If this turns into a divorce, and especially because the business is involved, you need records. Documentation. Everything. I do not want to turn into some paranoid guy digging through her life, I said. His voice softened a little. You are protecting yourself and your kids. That is not the same thing. Just stay on the right side of the law. Look at anything you already have legal access to. Phone bills, credit card statements, company records, shared devices. Do not hack anything. Do not do anything reckless. Keep your hands clean. For the next 3 days, I dug through our financials. Since the business accounts were shared, I could see everything. We had always kept it that way for taxes and bookkeeping. Full transparency. Or at least I thought it had been full transparency. That was where I found the first hard evidence. There were hotel charges in Phoenix, but not the places we normally used for business travel. These were small luxury hotels downtown, the kind of places people picked for privacy and atmosphere, not conferences. There were 4 charges across 6 weeks. All of them happened on Thursdays. Every one of them had been put on the business card and labeled as client entertainment. Then I found restaurant bills. Dinner for 2 at expensive places. Bottles of wine that cost more than what we usually spent feeding the whole family for several days. She had marked every one of them as business expenses, nice and neat, like she thought a clean category could hide what was really going on. But I knew our client list. We did not have meetings in those parts of town. We did not have customers there at all. I started making copies of everything. I took pictures of receipts. I organized dates and times. I built out a timeline. Then I matched those dates against another calendar I found on her laptop, one she had not meant for me to see. Every Thursday evening for 2 straight months, she had blocked out personal time from 6 in the evening until midnight. That was not enough for me, though. I needed to understand exactly where I stood. So I pulled up the partnership agreement for the company, the one Nicole and I had signed back when we incorporated. Years ago, Tyler had helped me put it together. At the time, Nicole said I was overthinking everything by asking for extra protections in the paperwork. We were young. We were in love. We thought bad things happened to other people. But those clauses were still there. There was language covering misconduct, buyout terms, protective provisions, even an infidelity clause tied to misuse of company funds and damage to the business. I sat there in my office with papers spread all over the desk and felt something inside me change. I did not feel shattered. I did not even feel furious. What I felt was sharp, cold certainty. Once I had that, I knew exactly what I had to do. I waited until Friday morning. Nicole had just come home from yoga. Her hair was still damp and pulled back. She was wearing those overpriced leggings she bought a few weeks earlier and carrying herself like everything in the world was under control. The kids were already gone. Ava had driven Mason and Sophie to school, which gave Nicole and me about 40 minutes alone in the house. That was all I needed. She poured herself some coffee and started looking through her phone again, like she always did. I was already sitting at the kitchen table with my hands clasped in front of me. I had played that conversation out in my mind over and over. I thought I might lose my temper when the time came. I thought maybe I would yell. But when I looked at her, I was calm. We need to talk, I said. She glanced at me like I had interrupted something minor. About what? About Ryan Mitchell. Her thumb stopped moving on the phone. Only for a second, but I saw it. Then she lifted her eyes and put on that blank expression people use when they are buying time. Who? The man you have been meeting at the Phoenician every Thursday night, I said. The same man you have been covering with charges to our business account under client entertainment. The same man you helped spend $8,000 of company money on in 2 months. All the color drained out of her face. Very slowly, she set her coffee mug down. She handled it with so much care it almost looked funny. Like if she moved too fast the whole lie would come apart. Caleb, I have no idea what you were talking about. I slid a folder across the table toward her. She looked at it, but did not touch it. Inside were hotel receipts, restaurant charges, and location records from her company car, which belonged to the business just like the credit card did. Dates, times, places, Every piece lined up. I have all of it, I said. Where you went, when you went, what you spent, even the bottle of wine you ordered. Then I let that sit for a second before I added the next part. I also reviewed our partnership agreement. You remember the infidelity clause, right? The one you said was unnecessary when Tyler helped me draft it? Her jaw tightened. The look in her eyes changed. Defensive first, then angry. So you have been spying on me, she said. Going through my things. No, I said. I have been reviewing company records and shared accounts. I have every legal right to do that as an equal owner. What I found is that my wife has been using business money to carry on an affair. That is not just cheating, Nicole. That is fraud. That is theft from the company. She opened her mouth, then shut it. Her eyes flicked toward the hallway. I knew that look. She was trying to figure out whether she could walk away, calm down, and come back later with a better story. I had seen her do the same thing in meetings when negotiations turned against her. Do not, I said quietly. Do not make this worse by lying again. I held her eyes. I know about the messages you thought were erased. I know about the calendar blocks. I even have confirmation from hotel staff that you were there regularly. That was when the polished mask finally fell away. She leaned back, and her whole face changed. What came through was cold and hard. You want to know why? She snapped. Her voice got louder. Because you have not touched me in over a year. Because all you care about is work and the kids, and that ridiculous house. Because I felt invisible. I nodded once. So your answer was to betray an 18-year marriage and put our company at risk. I stood up, walked over to the counter, and poured myself more coffee. My hands were steady, completely steady. Then I turned back toward her. This is what is going to happen, I said. You are going to call Ryan. You are going to tell him you will have all the free time you want next week, because I am filing the divorce papers. She stared at me like she had stopped breathing. Wait, she said in a whisper. What? You heard me. You cannot be serious. Now her voice was shaking. We have children. We own a business together. We have built a whole life. You are going to destroy all of that over this. I looked at her for a long moment. For years, I had loved this woman. I had trusted her with everything that mattered to me. Now all I felt was disappointment, so deep it had gone cold. I am not the one throwing it away, I said. You already did that. You did it the second you chose lies, cheating, and stealing over the life we built. I pointed toward the hallway. Pack what you need. Go stay with your sister. I want you out by Sunday night. Nicole did not take it quietly. For the next hour, she ran through every move she had. First she cried. Then she begged. She said it was a mistake. She said Ryan meant nothing. She said she would cut him off immediately if I gave her one more chance. When that got nowhere, she switched tactics. She said we could get counseling. She said marriages survived worse things. She said a divorce would hurt the kids more than anything she had done. I stayed quiet. Then her face hardened again, and the ugly side of her came all the way out. You are going to regret this, she said through clenched teeth. My father will bury you. You really think you can force me out of my own company? I built that business too. I met her stare without raising my voice. Our company, I said, and under the partnership agreement you signed, I told her, cheating by one partner, especially when company money or company property is tied to it, triggers an immediate buyout at a reduced value. Tyler is already putting the paperwork together. You will receive exactly what the law says you get, and not $1 more. The color drained out of her face so fast it looked like someone had flipped off a switch. You talked to your brother about this? She said. You told Tyler? I spoke to my lawyer about protecting my rights and protecting my children, I said. Ava is applying to colleges next year. Mason and Sophie need stability, not a disaster. Do you really think I am going to stand by and let you drag them into this? Do you think I am going to let you wreck their future because you broke your vows? That shut her up for about 10 seconds. Then she tried another angle. The kids do not need to know any of this, Nicole said, and now there was desperation in her voice. We can tell them we drifted apart. We can keep this civil. I agree, I said. That is exactly why you are going to pack your things, leave quietly, and not turn this into a circus. Because if you force me to explain to Ava why her mother blew up this family, then I am going to tell her the truth. That afternoon, after Nicole locked herself in our bedroom, I asked Ava to come talk with me. She was the oldest. She noticed everything. She deserved honesty before the others. We sat in my office with the door shut. The house was quiet in that strange way it gets when something bad has already happened, and the walls seemed to know it. Ava looked at me for about 2 seconds before speaking. Dad, what is going on? She asked. Mom has been crying all morning. And I heard you two arguing. I took a long breath. There was no clean way to say it, so I did not try. Your mother and I are getting divorced, I said. She has been seeing someone else for months, and I am not staying in a marriage without trust. Ava just stared at me. I could see it moving across her face in stages. First confusion, then the pieces fitting together, then anger. That is why she kept being gone, she said. Those Thursday night meetings. I nodded. I knew something felt off, she said quietly. Her voice trembled, but she held herself together better than most adults would have. She has been acting different for a while. Distant. I thought maybe you were both stressed out because of work. I am sorry you were picking up on that, I said. I should have figured it out sooner. Do not apologize, she said right away, jaw set hard. In that moment, she looked so much like me it almost hurt. She did this. Not you. Then she asked the question underneath every other question. Are we going to be okay? We are going to be more than okay, I told her. But I am going to need your help with Mason and Sophie. They are going to need their big sister. She nodded and wiped her face fast, like she did not want to give herself time to cry. Then, because she always thought ahead, she asked, what happens to the company? I gave a small nod. Smart kid. I am buying her out, I said. The business keeps going. Our employees keep their jobs. From the outside, as far as work goes, things stay steady. That evening I sat Mason and Sophie down together in the living room. Mason was old enough to understand more than I wanted him to. Sophie was still young enough that I needed to be careful with every word. Your mom and I are getting divorced, I said. Sometimes grown-ups hurt each other, and when that happens, the best thing is to live in separate houses so they can be better parents. Mason did not say anything at first. He just went still, the way he always did when something hit him hard. Sophie's eyes filled up right away. Is it because of me? She whispered. Did I do something wrong? That about tore me in half. I pulled her into my lap and held her close. No, sweetheart, I said. Not even a little bit. This has nothing to do with you. This is between your mom and me. You three are the best thing that ever happened to me, and that is never going to change. Mason finally spoke. Where is Mom going to live? With Aunt Kelly for now, I said. You will still see her. We will work out a schedule. By Sunday night, Nicole was gone. She packed 3 suitcases, took her car, and left while the kids were over at my mother's house. She did not say goodbye to them. She did not leave a note. She just left. 18 years of marriage. 3 children. And she could not even face them before walking out. That night, Ava found me in the garage. I was standing there moving tools around for no real reason, just trying to keep my hands busy. Sometimes a man needs something simple in front of him when his life gets turned upside down. She is really gone? Ava asked. Yeah, I said. Ava was quiet for a second. Then she said, good. Her voice was low, but there was steel in it. She did not deserve you, and she does not deserve us. I pulled my daughter into a hug, and standing there in that garage, with everything broken open around me, I realized something I had not expected. I was not destroyed. I was not even ruined. I was free. Monday morning came hard. I was in my office at Mercer Tech Group going over the first buyout numbers Tyler had sent me when our executive assistant, Denise, knocked on the door. Caleb, there is a man here to see you, she said. He says it is urgent. His name is Ryan Mitchell. For 1 second my blood went ice cold. Then it turned hot. Then it settled into something sharp and controlled. Send him in, I said. Ryan Mitchell walked into my office like he belonged there. He was tall, polished, wearing an expensive suit that practically announced money before he even opened his mouth. He had that practiced grin some men use when they are used to winning rooms over. Maybe it worked on clients. Maybe it worked on Nicole too. Caleb Mercer, he said, putting out his hand. I did not shake it. I just looked at him until he let it fall back to his side. I think we should talk, he said as he sat down across from my desk without being invited. About what? I asked. The Anderson contract, he said. The Fortune 500 proposal your company is chasing. I am the vice president of technology at Anderson Industries. I am the one reviewing it. For a second, the room felt off balance. It was almost too ridiculous to be real, cruel and perfect at the same time. You have got to be kidding me, I said. Ryan smiled wider. No joke. Small world, right? I have been reviewing your proposal for the last 3 weeks. Strong work. Nicole has been giving me extra insight into your firm during our time together. There it was. That smug little push. That deliberate dig. I got up, walked around my desk, and shut my office door. Then I turned back toward him. I kept my voice even. Let me be completely clear, I said. My personal life and my professional life are separate things. If you want to evaluate our proposal, do it on the quality of the work. That is fair. But if you think you are going to use your relationship with my soon-to-be ex-wife to influence this contract, you are making a serious mistake. His smile faded a little. I am not here to manipulate anything. Then why are you here? I asked. You came into my office, told me you were sleeping with my wife, and reminded me you control the biggest contract my company has in front of it. So tell me, what exactly were you hoping to accomplish? He shifted in the chair. I wanted to be upfront, he said. Professional. Man to man. I stepped closer. Man to man. I said, a man does not sleep with another man's wife. A man does not show up in his office and try to rub it in his face while pretending it is business. You want to be professional? Then walk out of here, review the proposal honestly, and make your decision based on the actual work. Ryan stood. You are taking this personally. You made it personal the second you touched my wife, I said. And now you are standing in my office trying to do what exactly? Intimidate me? Show me you think you won. I held his eyes. I do not scare easy. And if you tank this contract because of your affair with Nicole, I will make sure every executive in Phoenix knows why. People talk in this industry. You might want to remember that. He left without another word. The second the door closed, I sat back down and felt one hand trembling just a little. I picked up my phone and called Tyler. We have a problem, I told him. That evening, when I got home, Ava was sitting on the front steps waiting for me. Her face was pale. Dad, it is Sophie, she said the second I got out of the car. She will not come out of her room. She has been crying for hours. I tried talking to her, but she wants you. I went straight upstairs. I found Sophie curled up on her bed, holding that stuffed elephant she had loved since she was little. Her face was red and wet with tears. Seeing her like that hit me harder than anything else had all week. Hey, sweetheart, I said, sitting on the edge of the bed. She looked up at me with those big broken eyes. Is Mommy coming back? She is going to visit, I said gently. You will still see her. But why did she leave? Sophie asked, and her voice cracked right down the middle. Did I do something bad? Was I not good enough? I pulled her into my lap and held on tight. Listen to me, I said. None of this is because of you. Not one part of it. Sometimes grown-ups make bad choices and hurt each other. That is what happened. But you, Mason, and Ava, you are the best parts of our lives. You are more than enough. I miss her, Sophie sobbed into my shoulder. I know, baby, I said. I know. Mason was standing in the doorway by then, quiet, watching. At 14, he was trying hard to act tougher than he felt, but I could see the strain all over him. Mason, come here, I said. He hesitated, then came over. I wrapped one arm around him too, and the three of us stayed there together while Sophie cried and Mason fought his own tears. We are going to get through this, I told them. I am not going anywhere. Ava is not going anywhere. We are going to figure it out together. Later that night, after Sophie finally fell asleep and Mason had gone back to his room, Ava found me in the kitchen. Mom called, she said quietly. She wants to talk to us tomorrow. I nodded. Then Ava said, I do not want to talk to her. Is that wrong? I pulled her into a hug. No, honey, I said. You feel what you feel. You do not have to fake anything. But she is still your mom. At some point, you will need some way to communicate with her, even if you are angry. I am so angry, she whispered, at what she did to you. To all of us. I know, I said. I am angry too. But we cannot let anger turn us into something ugly. We are not going to live that way. She nodded against my shoulder. I am glad you are my dad. I kissed the top of her head. I am glad you are my daughter. Thursday morning, Tyler called with news that somehow made everything worse. I found something, he said, and I could hear the tension in his voice. Remember the money you were saving for the Colorado move? The $80,000 in the joint savings account for the down payment in Boulder? My stomach dropped. What about it? It is gone, he said. Nicole transferred it into a personal account 2 weeks ago, before you confronted her. For a second I just sat there. That money was not just money. It was years of extra contracts, skipped trips, long nights, and plans for a fresh start. We had been talking about expanding into Colorado for a long time. The kids were excited. Ava had already toured the University of Colorado campus. We had all started picturing a different future. Can we get it back? I asked. We can try, Tyler said. It will take time. She will probably claim it was for business or say she was entitled to part of it. But the fact that she moved it before you filed may actually help. It shows planning. I got in the car and drove to Kelly's house, where Nicole had been staying. Kelly answered the door and looked uncomfortable before I even said a word. She is not here, Caleb, Kelly said. I am not here to fight, I told her. But Nicole stole $80,000 from our family. That money was for our kids' future. I need to know whether you understand what she is doing. Kelly's expression changed right away. She told me it was her money, she said. She said you were trying to cut her off. Kelly, look at the dates, I said. Look at when she moved it. I did not even know about the affair until after she had already taken that money. She planned this, I said. She has been getting ready to leave for months. Kelly looked like she might be sick right there in the doorway. I will talk to her, she said. Do not bother, I told her. Just understand this. When this ends up in court, the truth is coming out. Every bit of it. That evening, Ava came to me holding her phone. Dad, you need to see this. She handed it over, and the second I looked at the screen, my stomach turned. It was a public post Nicole had put on Instagram. She was sitting across from Ryan at some fancy restaurant, both of them smiling with wine glasses lifted like they were celebrating something. The caption said, New beginnings. Sometimes you have to let go of the past to embrace your future. I stared at it for a second, not even because I was hurt anymore, but because I could not believe how shameless it was. She posted this where everybody can see it. I asked. Ava nodded, and I could see tears in her eyes, the angry kind. Half my friends have already seen it, she said. People are messaging me. They are asking questions. It is humiliating. I pulled her into a hug. I am sorry, sweetheart, I said. Your mother is making terrible decisions. She is making selfish decisions, Ava said. That is different. She was right. The next morning I got a call from Anderson Industries. Not from Ryan. From his boss. Mr. Mercer, the woman said. This is Patricia Chun, Chief Executive Officer of Anderson Industries. I understand there has been a personal conflict involving one of my vice presidents and your proposal. I chose my words carefully. There have been some complications, I said. Yes, she replied. Ryan Mitchell no longer works for this company. We do not tolerate conflicts of interest or unprofessional behavior. Your proposal is still under review, and it will be judged on its actual merit. I apologize for any stress this situation caused. Then she hung up. I sat back in my chair and let that settle. Ryan had been fired. Nicole's shiny new future had just taken a hard hit, and all I felt was cold satisfaction. By Friday afternoon, things got messy again. I was picking Mason up from wrestling practice when my phone started blowing up. Texts from Ava. Texts from other parents. Messages from neighbors. I pulled into a parking lot and checked. Ava had put up her own post on Instagram. It started with, Since my mom decided to make her private life public, I am going to tell the truth. My heart dropped. I called her right away. Dad, I know you are probably mad. Ava said before I could even speak. But I could not keep quiet anymore. She is lying to everybody. She is making you look like the bad guy, and I am done watching her manipulate people. Ava, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. What exactly did you post? The truth, she said. That she had an affair. That she stole money from our family. That you have been fair through all of this. That she walked out without even saying goodbye to us. I sat there and read the whole thing. It was long, emotional, sharp, honest in a way only a hurt 17-year-old can be. She had tagged Nicole. She had tagged Ryan. She had basically thrown the whole mess into daylight. Ava, I said, I understand why you wanted to defend me. I do. But this is still between your mother and me. You did not need to put yourself in the center of it. I am already in the center of it, she said, and her voice cracked. All of us are. I am tired of pretending everything is normal when it is not. She hurt you. She hurt all of us. And now she is acting like she is the victim. I drove home and found her in her room. She had clearly been crying. I sat down on the edge of her bed. I am not angry with you, I said. But I need you to understand something. Once something like that goes public, you cannot pull it back. Ever. Your relationship with your mother changed the second you posted that. It changed before that, Ava said, fierce and hurting. It changed when she picked somebody else over her own family. That night Nicole called. Not me. She called Ava directly, and she was yelling so loud I could hear her across the room. Ava held the phone away from her ear and let Nicole go on until she was done. Then my daughter said, calm as could be, you made your choices, Mom. I am making mine. Do not call me again until you are ready to apologize to Dad and actually mean it. Then she hung up. She looked at me with tears running down her face. Did I do the right thing? I hugged her and held on. You stood up for what you believed was right. I said. You defended your family. That takes guts. I am proud of you. Later that same night, Mason knocked on my office door. Dad, I want to talk to Mom, he said. I want to tell her she needs to give the money back. I looked at my son and saw anger in him that had not been there before. Hurt too. The kind that changes a kid faster than it should. Mason, I said, that is not your job. She stole from us, he said. That money was for our house. For our future. She does not get to take it and act like nothing happened. That hit me hard. My kids were trying to carry pieces of a fight that should have stayed on my shoulders. Part of me was proud of how strong they were. Another part of me hated that life had forced them to get strong this way. I will handle your mother, I told him. You need to focus on being 14. Wrestling, school, your friends. Let me carry this. But he shook his head. We are a team, Dad. You taught us that. Teams back each other up. And standing there looking at him, I realized something. Nicole had not just wrecked our marriage. She had done something she never meant to do. She had pulled the rest of us closer together. We were hurt. We were angry. But we were becoming something stronger than we had been before. Honest with each other. Loyal to each other. Harder to shake. The divorce hearing came 3 months later. Tyler had warned me it would be ugly, and he was right. Nicole showed up with a hard-charging attorney from Phoenix named Catherine Price, a woman who clearly made a living fighting over money and high-asset divorces. They came in looking ready for war. Your Honor, Catherine began. My client has been forced out of the business she helped build. Mr. Mercer has used his control of the company to isolate her, to poison the children against her, and to manipulate financial records for his own benefit. Tyler was on his feet right away. Your Honor, we have documented proof that Mrs. Mercer carried on an extramarital affair while using company resources, misused company funds, and transferred marital assets into a personal account before proceedings began. We are not asking for anything beyond the terms she already agreed to in the partnership contract. The judge, a no-nonsense woman in her 60s named Judge Martinez, looked down at the documents in front of her. I have reviewed the partnership agreement, she said. The infidelity clause is clear. Mrs. Mercer, did you or did you not engage in an affair while using company credit cards for personal expenses? Nicole's attorney started to object, but the judge shut that down with one look. Nicole lowered her eyes and put on the quiet, wounded voice she had used on me 100 times before. I made a mistake, she said. I was lonely. Caleb had become distant. Cold. I was looking for companionship. That is not the question I asked, Judge Martinez said. Did you use company funds for personal expenses connected to an extramarital affair? Nicole hesitated. Yes, but... And did you transfer $80,000 from a joint savings account into a personal account before divorce proceedings began? That money was mine too, Nicole said quickly. I earned it. Tyler stood again. Your Honor, that money had been specifically set aside for a family relocation and business expansion to Boulder, Colorado. Mrs. Mercer moved it 3 weeks before Mr. Mercer even became aware of the affair. We have documentation showing the timing and the planning. Judge Martinez reviewed a few more pages. Then she made her ruling. I am ordering the immediate return of 75% of those funds to a joint account until final asset division is complete. Mrs. Mercer, you will receive your buyout according to the partnership agreement, and given the facts before this court, that result is more than fair. Nicole's face went pale. Catherine Price tried to push back, but the judge had already made up her mind. Outside the courtroom, Nicole came up to me crying. Caleb, please, she said. Do not do this. We can still fix it. There is nothing left to fix, I said. You cannot mean that. I do. Then she said something that honestly stunned me. What about Ryan? She asked. He lost his job because of you. He is struggling. We need that money. I just stared at her. After everything, after all the lies and the stealing and the damage, she was asking me to feel sorry for the man she cheated with. You are asking me to help fund your affair, I said. I am asking you to have some compassion, she said. I do have compassion, I told her. For my children. For the family you blew apart. For the future you threw away. But for you and Ryan? No. You are on your own. Tyler stepped in then and moved me along before the conversation got any uglier. Come on, he said. We are done here. Technically, I had won. It did not feel like winning. It felt like surviving something brutal and finally making it to the other side. 8 months after the divorce was final, I stood in the living room of our new house in Boulder watching movers carry in furniture. Ava had just started her freshman year at the University of Colorado. Mason was thriving at his new high school and had become captain of the wrestling team. Sophie was happy in third grade, had already made new friends, and barely asked about her mother anymore. The business had not just survived, it had grown. Without Nicole's chaos and Ryan's interference, we landed the Anderson contract and picked up 2 more Fortune 500 clients after that. I promoted my senior developer to partner, brought in some strong new people, and opened the Boulder office ahead of schedule. Nicole moved in with Ryan for a while. He found another job at a smaller tech company, making about half what he used to make. She burned through her settlement money in 4 months, tried dragging me back into court for more support, and lost again. Ava refused to speak to her. Mason saw her about once a month, mostly out of duty. Sophie asked about her once in a while, but she never seemed very interested in going for visits. One thing I never would have expected was how much Robert Hayes, Nicole's father, stepped up. He was 68 and started showing up all the time. He came to Mason's wrestling matches. He took Sophie to the park on Saturdays. About once a month he had Sunday dinner with us like clockwork. One night after dinner, he looked at me and said, "You are a good man, Caleb. Better than my daughter deserved. I am sorry for what she put you through." I told him the truth. Your grandkids need their grandfather. That is what matters now. Ava came downstairs carrying a box of books. "Dad, where do you want these?" "Wherever you want," I said. "This is your house too." She smiled, and it was the first real, easy smile I had seen from her in a long time. "It feels good here," she said. "Like we can breathe again." That night, after the kids were asleep, I sat on the back porch and looked out at the mountains. My phone buzzed. It was a text from Tyler. "Ryan Mitchell filed for bankruptcy. Nicole is calling everyone she knows trying to borrow money. Just thought you should know." I deleted the message. Their problems were not mine anymore. I sat there thinking about the man I had been a year earlier, the one who found out his wife betrayed him and believed his whole world was ending. I had been wrong. My world did not end. It got cleared out. All the rot, all the lies, all the pretending got ripped away so something stronger could take its place. My kids saw what it looked like to stand up for yourself without losing your character. They saw me fight for them. They saw me rebuild without turning bitter. Ava was doing well in college. Mason was strong and confident. Sophie was happy. And me? I was free. What happened cracked me open. It hurt. It changed me. But what grew back was tougher, cleaner, and more honest than what had been there before. I learned that love means nothing without respect. I learned trust is something you earn over and over, day by day. And I learned that sometimes the strongest thing a man can do is walk away from what is breaking him. I did not hate Nicole anymore. Honestly, I barely thought about her. She was not my whole story. She was just one chapter.